Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brandon. I think you're gonna like this video. I'm not gonna be mean. Um, I have been mean today, though. Obviously, I always follow my gut in life, and my friends who've known me for a long time, they've noticed that when I start to get like really angry, something really crazy happens in the world. Okay, so obviously this thing with Charlie today getting shot. Um, Couple things. I put up a little video on Facebook. Let me see if I can find it. I'll put the link here in the description of this video eventually. Sir. Hi. But I want to first start off hang by on a second. Thanks for coming to this. Hang on, let me pull this up. We need marshals. So I put up this video right here, and I'll put up the link in a second that you guys can watch it. And in that video, he mentions the word Israel. He mentions that Charlie's been talking negatively against Israel and that he's got death threats and that he was actually wearing a bulletproof vest today. As soon as I found out about it all, he was still alive. He was supposedly in bad condition, but he was still heart beating, still alive. And I honestly thought about making a video, but it would have been a very ego-oriented video, like an I told you so video, but the video is going to have two key points in it. One, I was going to say he's not going to make it. The second thing I was going to say is the people who have been apprehended as the accused shooters and suspects of interest, they're complete decoys. Those are my two predictions. And I told that to some of my friends, some of my close friends, talking to them on the phone and stuff. And then sure as shit, this happens and my friends are just like, how did you know? And it's because these things are like military operations and they know what they're doing. They know how to distract everybody. And I want to start out with a key point. It's a what if situation. So what if there's an organization of very intelligent people at the top who understand physics and all this stuff that they got to keep classified and different things. They understand overpopulation is going to be an issue. So they know there's always going to be wars and fighting. And the question is, do you control the war or do you not control the war? Do you let everybody just blow everything up or do you get control of all the teams and you make sure that nobody on any team blows everything up? Okay. Pretty simple, sane question to ask yourself. So anyhow, I know a lot of you think that human beings aren't that smart. That they can think that far ahead. But I assure you, when you're a multimillionaire / billionaire, you have time to think about whatever the fuck you want to think about, okay? And you're used to having to be in control of people because typically to become a multimillionaire / billionaire, you have to organize people and control people well, okay? Herd them like into their agendas, whatever it is that they're organized to do in your company, your organization that generates income, profits. So with that said, I put up another documentary about, and I think you should watch this one because if you think I'm just an anti-Israel guy, I'm not. I think you should watch this documentary about, I probably have to scroll back a lot. I forget how long ago it was that I posted this. But it's a documentary about, people, neighborhoods in Israel that believe that I'll just put it this way. There's some people who are against Zionists in Israel, right? There's a lot of documentaries lately about JFK in Israel where things are getting exposed about JFK. And so Charlie was talking about this stuff, guys. And I have recently made videos about some stuff. And so I'm always kind of have like a eerie premonition / pulse on reality of what's going to happen next. I don't know how to explain it. But with all that said, let me find I'll try to put all the links to all these in this. It's going to be back here a ways, huh? I always try to. Anyway, so let me get out this point. So let's say that there's these elites that hide behind the quote-unquote team of Israel so that we, the masses, get mad at Israel. when in reality, Israelis don't have any more control over their military than most Americans have control over the armed forces here in America. It's all controlled by a pyramid of control. And I want to get to the concept of pyramid of control in this video, and you'd think that I have bad things to say about pyramid of control. Pyramid of control is bad when it goes potentially to the wrong people. But pyramid of control is potentially a good thing. I think it is probably a good thing for other topics. And so the thing that I was really mad about this morning, it's weird, like my gut just says, no, you got to stand your ground on this. You got to draw a line because people are just so fucking out of control. We're about to enter into Civil War / World War III, because if America goes into Civil War, rest assured World War III will start. Okay, every country on earth is waiting for us to start fighting with ourselves so then they can get away with whatever they want in their countries and we don't have time to help them out because all of our people will be so selfish-minded. They'll say, we don't care about your war over there and wherever. America's at war. We have our own war going on. You guys can take care of your fucking selves. Get the fuck out of our, quit whining, blah, blah, blah. So, I've been trying to get back to this documentary, but I put up so much shit on a daily basis. Anyhow, I'll put the link in it. It's something about Israel. It's pretty cool. It's a good documentary. It's positive towards Israel. It's like saying that people are... Here it is. It says the most anti-Zionist neighborhood in Israel. Well, it got cut off. And so it's just basically kind of saying, like, not everybody there is for what's going on. So here's the first thing I want to teach you. Let's say that the people at the top, you want to call them Zionists, whatever you want to call them, people at the top, there's a group. Let's say that there's a group at the top. And let's say there's lots of different groups at the top. But let's say there's a group at the top who has influence. I'm just going to make this up. They have influence over Israel and what their military does and their prime ministers and stuff like that. They have influence over, let's just say, the Vatican or England. We'll just throw out a couple more, and then we'll say they have influence over, like, the American Senate and the deep state, right? And our presidents. So people in America, when they're digging for who's responsible for the problems in America, you could say, there's a fly getting in my drink, you fucker. You could say something along the lines of, you could make it to where the quote-unquote assassins or troublemakers or whatever always come from, quote-unquote, let's just make this up, it's just fiction. We'll just say, have Israeli ties, right? Like if you really dig into the JFK assassination, and I'll put up some other links in this video, you'd be mind blown on some stuff. But the point is this. So that's what we in America are programmed to believe. It's those people over there. Well, then meanwhile, let's say something bad happens in Israel and comes to find out it's always traced back to the Vatican and England and maybe America. And then same thing, you over in England, something bad happens, it's always traced back to Israel, Vatican, and America. And then something bad happens in, the Vatican, it traces back to Israel and England and America. So that you've always got this point and blame game, but it's never the people at the top. The people at the top orchestrate the point and blame game. You see, they order one team to fuck with the other team to keep the conflicts going. So, the big thing I keep hearing everybody say is, that's it, we're drawing the line, blah, 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 blah. You guys all want to handle it like chimpanzees? You say, Brandon, you're the one who's yelling all the time. Let me make something clear, guys. When you go into the military, you have a drill sergeant. That drill sergeant can yell at you and express when he's angry by just yelling. That drill sergeant can beat you up. He can steal from you. he can kill you. Oftentimes, drill sergeants only yell. And I think this is a very healthy thing when people yell. One of the best people I've ever met in my life, he'd never yelled much, but he was a drill sergeant earlier in his life, and I didn't know that at first. I met a few drill sergeants in my life. They're always good people. They're just straightforward, straight shooter kind of people. They're not scared to say what they want to say. So I like to kind of take after those people. Like, it's kind of like a breath of fresh air. They're not scared to say what needs to be said. And if you get bent out of shape and you're like, how dare you say that? And you want to fight them, you're the one who's escalating. You're the one who's going to the next gear now to fighting. But he provoked me. No, you stay on. If someone just yells at you, you can yell back or you can just walk away and say, fuck that guy. My Facebook friend today, he walked away and said, fuck that guy. Okay? When I called him out, and I'm going to get back to that too. Well, let's just get into it so I don't forget. What I was putting my foot down about today, what I was really drawing the line on, and I really try to explain this often, is when you're dealing with somebody who you even consider halfway your equal on a topic, like you're like, okay, this guy's not stupid, okay? And they say something you don't agree with, and you want to tell them, here's the truth. You're wrong, here's the truth. A much better way to go about it, is to ask them what are their thoughts on the topic that you're about to tell them is the truth. You see what I'm saying? So like, I'm just going to make something up. Let's say that somebody says, all Porsche 911s have 4.0 engines that rev to 9,000 RPMs. You can ask the guy, instead of saying, no, you're wrong, blah, 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 blah. A simpler way to go about it is, it's not necessarily simpler if that's the habit that you're in, but a more productive way to go about it is to say, what are your thoughts on the 3.6 liter blah, blah, blah motor that only revs to 7,000 RPM? And the person might ask you a question back and he's like, does that go in Porsches? And you say, yeah. What year Porsches does that go in? And you enlighten him, blah, blah, blah year. So now he feels silly. But notice, you never told him he was wrong. He just found out he was wrong. And if he doesn't believe you, he looks it up on what do you call it? The internet, whatever. So apply that to the guy who told me that the shares, the transactions were fake. Okay, that it's all fake volume data. Okay, who I really just went off the hook on, among other things, because I've been dealing with it nonstop with the fucking crypto community, where it's like everybody thinks like you're new, therefore you're stupid. It's like, I'm not that new, and I promise you I'm not stupid. But anyway, the point is, so I've been dealing with it with the crypto community, and one of my Facebook friends, who considers himself an avid investor, he thinks he's an avid day trader. Okay, that's fine. He comes at me and he says, the data's fake. The data that you just made all those videos about, where that data is moving up and down, it's all fake. What if instead he said to me, what do you think the odds are of possibility that maybe the data is fake? And let's say I come back with an ignorant answer like 0, which I wouldn't have. I would have said, well, it's possible that it's fake, but think about what advantage would it yield anybody to have this fake data that billions of dollars worth of BSV coins are being bought, okay, in an hour period, okay? Who does that, why would they do that? To get the masses to buy in? Who's watching? Who's paying attention? What other YouTubers even told you about this? It's not like it's on, any other channel. It's nowhere to be found. None of them are talking about it. So it's like, why would they do that? But the point is, I would have probably hit him with another question. Instead of said 0%, 0% odds that it's fake data. I would have said, well, I guess it's possible, but why would they do that? I would have hit him with another question. And so often people think that I'm just being a total smartass. But it's better than being a dumbass and telling somebody that they're wrong. And so often you tell people, you're like, you just told me I'm wrong. I didn't tell you you're wrong. You just said the data's fake. After I make videos explaining that it's swirling shares around or it's real transactions, they don't want people to notice because it's on the exchange that's not reported to all the other exchanges for volume and websites for volume like CoinGecko and whatever these websites are. It was only on CoinMarketCap. I said those are my two possibilities. I never said that it's impossible that it's fake data, but the fact that you just declare it's fake. Now, instead of people reading along, and this is probably my biggest pet peeve about it, if we're one-on-one, I'll tolerate it a little bit. I'll kind of put questions in there and kind of remind you, like, you should be asking questions instead of making definitive statements when you have no clue what you're actually talking about when it's all said and done. You don't know that they're fake. They could be, but you don't know that they are to sit there and correct me and say they're fake, okay? But the point is, when you're in front of an audience and you make a definitive statement, they're fake. Those definitive statements have consequences because sometimes people who don't want to invest that much time into the discussion, they believe you. They have now been sold a lie. So that's the difference between asking questions. When you ask questions to each other, intelligent questions, the audience learns. When you make statements, the audience doesn't learn. So I was just watching some of these Charlie videos, and good debates. And Charlie, I'll say, was guilty, especially early in his career, of just making real outlandish statements, and still did recently makes real outlandish statements. But the point is, there's this video, and I wish I would have shared it to my wall, but I didn't. So now I'm probably not going to be able to find it again. But he made a comment. There was a guy who had a microphone who attacks Charlie and says, "You're wrong about this, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about this, you're wrong about this." And Charlie was able to pick the guy apart. It was one of those things where what do you call it?
Flesh and bone, but more importantly on the soul.
It was one of those things where the guy was criticizing Charlie and he never graduated from college, but from an Ivy League school and all this other stuff. So
Thanks for doing this.
The point is,
so ChatGPT,
it made me realize that the same thing that everybody had a problem with Charlie, and the same thing that Charlie had a problem with everybody, the next gear is we humanity have to put together a code of conduct so that this stuff doesn't happen. And if it does happen, then whoever does it is completely out of bounds, because it's like so much. Okay, when I talk to my mom and my mom's side of the family, and even my stepdad, they would always, but my mom's side of the family is really bad at this, and they are ignorant people. They're really bad at just making crazy statements, and they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And that's what I got mad about with Justin at Horsepower Obsessed, when it's like in the year 2023, and they're talking about the ZR1 has been spotted. That's the ZR1. It's like, no, that same body is going to be on the Grand Sport. And the ZR1 isn't for years out yet. The highest level Corvette is not for years yet, because the build cycle doesn't end until 2029 or 2030. So we're still years away from the final Corvette. So be careful calling anything the ZR1. And of course, I was right that there is a Grand Sport coming and that it has a front pass-through. We've seen the car now. And of course, I think anybody with any two brain cells to rub together knows I was right that the 1064 SS ended in 64 to match up with the XP64, which was a 1959 car, okay? It was in a museum forever, and it was like a one-off prototype race car thing that ran around the country and broke all the records and set the stage for the Grand Sport and the ZR1, okay? Sound familiar? Okay. So the point is, when people just make these blanket ignorant statements, it really bothers me. I try to, in my videos, when I'm not sure about something, I try to say, it could be this, it could be this. I think it's going to be this. I'm allowed to if anybody's allowed to predict which horse they think is going to win the race. It's not illegal to say, I think that horse is going to win the race. That's what a fucking horse track's all about. I bet that one's going to win the race. It doesn't mean I know that horse is going to win the race and that horse is the winner. I'm calling it now. Then you're going to sound like a fucking idiot. But I'll wager $100 on that horse wins the race. It's different things. And we live in a society that lacks class. Everybody's such low IQ that they don't understand this stuff. And I'd love to teach everybody. But the problem is you start upstaging certain political puppets of the elites. You start upstaging certain media moguls that the elites have under their belt and under control. And the elites don't like it when someone is out of their control. And here I am just about to just say, fuck it, let's just roll the dice. Everybody says I'm a pussy for not releasing my stuff, blah, 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 blah. And now this thing happens to Charlie Kirk. And you know what? All those people who say, oh, you just need to release your stuff, you're such a pansy, blah, blah, blah. Those same people, when I talked to them on the phone today, yeah, you know what, Brandon, you're right. That last video you put up where you were talking about, when you were doing a heart-to-heart video about how we don't know how good we have it and blah, 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 blah. Maybe you're right, man. Maybe you should just sell Corvette parts and not get too political because the world's just crazy. Yeah, no shit. The same motherfuckers telling me, why don't you release your stuff? We think you're lying. Prove it to us. Show us what you have. Show us all your patent stuff that you want to patent that don't have all the money to patent it globally yet. Show us everything. That way we can just steal it from you. And you can become a target for the world leaders. Just show us all your shit, Brandon. Show us all your stuff. You little fucking 4-year-old fucks. You guys are just such shit. You guys have no clue what it's like to be a person who actually does something and then has to wrestle with ideas of what they're going to do with their something that they've invented so that it doesn't just get stolen away from them or they get shot because they release whatever it is that's important. But anyway, before this video is over, I want to talk about, it's just an idea, and I'm getting older, so I tend to forget things. So if I don't put it down in the video, I don't remember it. So it's like I go back, I watch these videos, and then it sticks in my mind a little bit. You have to hear things 2 or 3 times as you get older. So it's like I got to talk to myself. That's what these videos are. So I'm just letting you guys listen along in case tomorrow I get a bullet through my head. That way you can say, okay, maybe the guy knew some stuff. Maybe we should go back and watch some of his videos. But the point is this. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've probably mentioned it before, but I really want to bring this. The elites want there to be a pyramid of control so that the world is under control. Well, what if instead of the elites assembling these pyramids of control via the military, via the corporations, via royal banking crime families, with, what do you call it? Arm twisting. What's the word? Ransoming, forcing people to do your bidding, blah, blah, blah. What if every person, and I would do this, I would set the example, and I would say, okay, when it comes to science and physics, here's 3 people who I'm going to consult, or at least one person who I'm going to consult and get their opinion about this topic. When it comes to history and blah, 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 here's a person I'm going to talk to. When it comes to spirituality and communicating with the freaking universe and being reverent, like meditation, whatever, here's a person who I consider my superior, who I'm going to talk to and ask questions to. And blah, 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 blah. And then you put out like maybe, I'm just brainstorming right now. You put out like a little thing where it's like, here's why I believe this person is smarter than me on physics stuff. Here's why I believe this person's smarter than me on meditation stuff. Here's the reason why I think this person or persons, whatever, are smarter than me on history stuff. And maybe you can't get a hold of all 3 of them. Maybe they don't have time to talk to me. But the point is, maybe I have 3 of each category. But the point is, what if we ran our big life choices past people up above us? And if they don't have a good answer, they say, you know what, that's a good question. And they go to the people who are above them, and they go to the people who are above them. And we have this pyramid of control where then the message gets back to me and it's like, hey, Brandon, you know what, this thing that you've discovered about, your physics beliefs, so-and-so wants to meet you. Rockefeller wants to meet you. The modern day Einstein, von Braun, or Tesla, as you can see here, if you do a search, this guy wants to meet you. This king wants to meet you. This president wants to meet you. And you don't turn down the invite because they might enlighten you to what the negative trade-offs are to what it was that you were going to do. Now you don't have to be part of the mafia. You don't have to join the military. You don't have to join corrupt corporate America. You just have this pyramid of people, and everybody has this pyramid of people. And of course, it's less spooky that way. Guys, I'm not a violent person. Even though I say, this guy deserves to have his fucking head knocked off with a bat. No wonder why the world leaders run fucking airplanes into you guys. Blah, 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 blah. There's a difference between me saying, I can see why the world leaders get fed up with you guys. But it doesn't mean that there's not a better way, and it doesn't mean that they all deserve to go to jail, okay? But if there's a better way, then we have to start doing it. We, the children, the peons, we, the people, have to start doing it. And I'm well aware, okay, this is another key point I want to put in this episode. I've known this for a long, long time. I don't believe that I'm going to be able to get everybody to act right, okay? If I can, okay, so Vet Titans was a great experiment for me because what it did was it showed me that, I can't convince the whole vet community of something. And there's a lot of people out there who are starting to realize I'm right, but their egos are too big. That's fine. About the grand sport and stuff, they're realizing I was right because they're seeing the camo cars now with the front pass-throughs with the thin spine on the rear window. And they're like, okay, he was right. Motherfucker was right. The point is, so I got 1,000 people on the Vet Titans group on Facebook, right? And I got 1,000 subscribers here, which is nothing. I'm not here for subscribers. My other channel only had 3,000 subscribers. It got attacked for copyright from a guy who gave me permission to post his videos. And then he doubled back on his word when I started mocking his lies, his BS. But the point is, I'm getting old, man. I just lost that. That's why it's like I'm trying to get. I'm putting this little stuff together on these YouTube videos because I'm slipping. The point that I'm getting at is, what was I saying? Just lost it. I had too many things that I was trying to get to, and I juggled too many things, and I dropped something right there. The 1,000 people in the Vet Titans group. What that's taught me is, it's taught me that I'm not here to save everybody. Even God himself in the stories of Jesus and the stories of anything else, it all says not everyone can be saved. And that's just a simple blanket statement. Nobody can be saved from all things, okay? Everybody can't be saved from all bad wrongdoings. So what you have to do is you just have to find the people who are receptive to whatever the message is. And if you can create a situation or like a system where those people have an advantage over the rest of the masses, now you're helping people out to where they have some incentive to want to be part of the team also. Not saying you have to, but you have some incentive. And so I've really been toying with the idea for a long time about this website technology that I keep talking about and this currency technology that I keep talking about, where it's like, if I release it, and I need some people who are really clever with trusts and corporations and stuff to chat with. I'd like this to be the new, Okay, so let's say I get a bullet through my head tomorrow and I have these patents that are filed. Let's say I file some patents. And let's say that I set up a trust where the patents belong to the trust, and anybody who does X, Y, and Z, like log into a specific website, create a login to a website, and those people, whoever create logins to the websites, those people are entitled to use the patents. Meanwhile, so the patents are like a trust that belongs to these people who create logins to the website. And no one person is the dictator. Instead, it's just they get to benefit from the technology. So it's kind of like a blockchain thing. We'll just say that. But the point is, that idea, but it is different. But it could easily work with blockchain, what I'm explaining right now. So please, God, don't go file patents on what I'm explaining, because I understand patent law and I'm making this public domain right now and I have 1 year to file. Okay. But the point is, I'm just so sick of little thief people like, that's a good idea, I'm going to take it now. Instead of give the person credit who thinks something up. Like Justin the other day, Justin at Horsepower Obsessed is talking about how the gas door should shut off the fan. Where do you think Justin learned that from? You fucking fuck scumbag. You can't even give credit, and you're sitting there preaching the ideas if it's your own when it's time stamped on my videos weeks ago. I mean, what a fucking scumbag. But anyway, I can't even give credit where credit's due. After he mocks me that I'm not smarter than the GM engineers, and then he's going to sit there and use my idea that shows that I'm smarter than the GM engineers in this perfect situation. He's going to sit there and pretend that it's him. You want to talk about a fucking dude who behaves like a fucking druggie. I mean, there's just no conscience whatsoever. Just a total fucking thief at any moment. But anyway, and now he's talking about the grand sport finally. People pull, okay, sorry to tangent. I just remembered that. I've been meaning to make videos about that. On his last live episode Monday night, people are messaging me. He's finally talking about the grand sport and saying the grand sport's going to come. And he's saying his secret sources are telling him about it. And I'm just like, I've been talking about this for years. I've explained it to him years ago. But the point is, where was I going? Back to the royalty thing. What that does is it makes it so that the patent can't fall into like a super corporation's hands. Like, let's say I die and then they come through and buy it off of whoever I bequeath it to. Okay, like if I bequeath it to a family member or like a group of guys or whatever, and then the point is, if you invent some really amazing technology that makes things really fair, more than they currently are, fairer, because things are never going to be perfectly fair, but you make things fairer to where the world can move in a more positive direction instead of going backwards. Because right now everybody's like, that's enough. We've had it. We're going to fucking... Blah, 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 blah. You're going to end up in fucking civil war, and you're going to end up fucking dead, you stupid fuckers. And you're going to end up losing all your rights. You guys have no clue what you're doing with this whole Charlie Kirk thing. You guys have no fucking clue what you're doing. I'm trying to sit here and brainstorm for you to understand that there is a better way to go. We're now entering into the time of Aquarius. I told you in the last videos about how all the sports stars are Aquarius. And by the way, somebody messaged me like, that doesn't work for all sports. What about golf? And I'm like, you actually text me that without typing it in first on the internet to figure out who the person is who won the most majors? They're like, what, Tiger Woods? I'm like, no, who is Tiger Woods chasing? Jack Nicklaus. Jack Nicklaus. Why don't you look up who Jack Nicklaus is? He's an Aquarius. I'll go ahead and fill you guys in. But anyway, the point is, all the sports stars that are at the top, they're Aquarius. Abe Lincoln, Darwin, Aquarius, February 12th. We're into the time of Aquarius, guys. God couldn't give you any more of a fucking hint than every fucking superstar that matters is an Aquarius. You guys keeping up yet? That God isn't going to invade on your free agency, but there's a prophecy that every 2,000-ish years when the zodiacs change, you'll know that there's a God, because coincidentally, the people who are of substantial change, whether it's to hockey, whether it's to basketball, whether it's to golf, whether it's to baseball, Babe Ruth and all the other ones who are all Aquarius. Jackie Robinson, I think, was the first black baseball player. He's an Aquarius, if I'm not mistaken. Every Okay, Abe Lincoln freeing the slaves in America, ending the old game that was done by the British rule and the European rule, the slave idea, have slaves in America. No, that doesn't jive with our Constitution. Abe Lincoln was the one who did what the founding fathers didn't have the guts to do. Abe Lincoln was the one who really followed through and said, if all men are created equal, there's not going to be slaves. And we're going to give everybody a fair shot, but there's still going to be prison. And so it's going to be a Darwinism. Charles Darwin, February 12th. Abe Lincoln, February 12th. Aquarius. Okay, so the point is, we're into the time of Aquarius, which means we're into a new time. And what that means is, guys, you can't go back to the old way of solving problems. The way that worked 50 years ago for your grandparents and whoever. There is now a better way, and you need to open up your eyes and open up your mind to what is the better way. And one of the things that I think that our country lacks is, the world lacks is, because we set an example for everybody, is we don't have a pyramid of respect. We don't have a pyramid of respect where it's like, who are your gurus? Who is your circle of people who you're going to call up when you need advice? Like if I need advice about my bad leg, I call up my knee doctor. Okay, he's a good dude. If I need advice about, nutrition, I do my own homework. But I try to find people who really know their shit. But neither here nor there. You get what I'm saying. What if instead of escalating fights, like if someone calls you out and says that you're such and such, what if you called up your guru? What if someone is saying, oh, you're a communist, blah, blah, blah. You're not even a capitalist. You don't even know what the fuck capitalism is, blah, 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 blah. You say, I think you're wrong, but you know what? Let me call my guru guy. Hey, guru guy, guru girl, whoever it is. Somebody's saying that I'm a socialist communist because I'm doing this, this, and this. Does that make me a socialist communist? Yeah, that does. When you say that all cars should be sold exactly at MSRP and not a penny above, like Justin at Horsepower Obsessed and Keith Cornett, that means you're a socialist communist. Yes, that's what that means. Okay, they don't understand what it means to have an open market. They think that you can just peg everything right at MSRP. Well, we don't care if things sell below MSRP, but they should never exceed MSRP. Well, that's not how it works, because once things get down to MSRP, they quickly fall below MSRP. Because once people know that they're not going to make money on a vehicle, they don't buy the car anymore. The biggest appeal about the C8 was that I can drive a Corvette and fucking break even. It's a free car. It's cheaper than buying a fucking diesel Jetta. I went out and bought a bunch of diesel Jettas when the whole Dieselgate thing started breaking, because I knew that they were not going to be able to fix the cars. I knew that it would cost them too much and they couldn't retrofit the urea tanks onto the cars. So I bought as many diesel Jettas as I could while everybody else was abandoning them. I bought cars for $5,000, $4,000, $3,000. And those cars, Volkswagen had to buy them back at 15, 20. I made a fortune on those cars. After I turned in all my diesel Jettas, because I started out with a couple of my own before the Dieselgate thing broke. After I turned in all my diesel Jettas in 2017, that's when I bought the Corvette and started daily driving new Corvettes. Because prior to that, I'd never daily drove Corvettes, brand new Corvettes. I didn't do that. But after the diesel Jettas went back, I was like, I made so much fucking money off diesel Jettas, I'll just fucking buy a Corvette. And then at first I didn't put a lot of miles in the Corvette. And then next thing you know, it's like, fuck it. I don't want to go back to driving a diesel Jetta. I want to just drive this thing. Anyway, everybody uses yelling as an excuse to say, ooh, that guy's going to blow up the world. Ooh, that guy's an axe murderer. Ooh, don't ever marry that guy. Ooh, he's going to resort to violence and fight you. Ooh, he's going to blow up your car. Oh, that guy's yelling. Why can't we go back to understanding that we humans don't like it when people don't take us seriously, that there's a serious problem? And we yell when people really cross the line and don't take a fucking hint. Why can't we go back to that? And until I resort to violence, I'm not a problem. It's very simple, guys. You know how many drill sergeants have yelled their ass off their whole life, but they don't walk down the street and resort to violence? I'm not saying all of them don't, but I'm saying, you know how many have successfully yelled their asses off at people and they don't resort to violence? Yelling doesn't mean you're going to resort to violence. You guys love to insult and attack people's character in ways that simply aren't true. You guys are liars. A lot of you are liars, and you have no conscience about the lies you tell. You have no accountability for the lies you tell. You just say, who cares? Who cares? All you can think about is how people hurt you. You don't stop and think about how you hurt other people. And when I see that, and when I see people programming each other with lies, and those lies cause damage, like Justin Horsepower Obsessed lies cause damage. They tanked the Z06 market with the ZR1 lies. And they were lies. And people would say, no, Brandon, there was a 2025 ZR1. Guys, if you can't see through the fact that General Motors had to make correction after correction after correction, game change after game change after game change, to make sure that there were 100 2025 ZR1s, you are blind. They were going to change the model year over to 2026 before the first ZR1 was ever even built. And that got nixed at the last second. Conti got ordered to take his video down, and I got booted from a group for posting the video that Conti put up that the 2026 change was happening in May, June. It was an official memo inside GM's computers. Anyway, neither here nor there. This stuff all has relevance to this world staying in one piece. That's a long enough video. I got to end it. It's like 40 minutes. It's going to take forever to upload. I might make some more here after a bit. See ya.